This is question number 15 on the November 2014 non-calculator paper. Okay, let's read through the question. It said, students in a class kept a record of the amount of time in minutes they spent doing homework. So it's the amount of time in minutes they spent doing homework. The table shows information about the amount of time girls spent doing homework last week. So they have the least amount of time, the range, the median, the lower quartile, and the upper quartile. On the grid, draw a box plot for the information in the table. So they want us to draw a box plot. Now, reminding yourself of a box plot, in a box plot, it looks something like this. That's the lowest value. That's the highest value. That line there stands for the median. And this end of the box is the lower quartile, and this end of the box is the upper quartile. We have the lower quartile, we have the upper quartile, we have the least value, the lowest value, we have the median, but we don't have the highest value. Instead, we have the range. Now, the range is how much it goes all the way across here, which is really the highest value, take away the lowest value. So if the range is 230 and the least value, or the lowest value, is 60, then the highest value is going to be 230 plus 60. Okay, so the highest value is 290. You need to make sure you work that out first, and it's always useful to draw a little box plot at the side and think about what you're going to do. So the least value is going to be 60, the highest value is going to be 290, the upper quartile is 220, the median is 170, and the lower quartile is 100. Now, on my box plot on the grid, I'm going to draw lines to show all of this information. So let's bring it up and draw my lines on. So for the least value, the lowest value is 60. Read the scale really carefully. So I'm looking at this, and there are 10 tiny squares that take me up to 50. So every 2 stands for 10. So that's like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. That's going to be 60. So I'm going to draw a line there. I'm going to draw my next line at the lower quartile, which is 100. I'm going to draw another one at 170. So if that's 150, that's going to be 160. 170 is there. There is my upper quartile. Oh, my median. My upper quartile is 220. So that's 200, 210, 220. So there is my upper quartile. And finally, the highest value is 290. I'm going to go to 300 and work backwards one lot of 10. So 290 is going to be over there. I could count up from there to 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Be very careful with this. They're testing that you can use the scale and you can understand the scale as well. And now I just need to connect it up to show my box plot. 3 in the middle. There's my box. And the whiskers are the 2 lines going out on either side. Okay, you need to make sure you do this accurately. You show all the information, right? That's 60, so that's correct. That's 100, it's correct. The median is 170. The upper quartile is 220, and the highest value, which I had to work out, was 290. Okay, so there is my box plot. For part B, right, the first thing I notice is there's a star next to part B. right? And if we look at the information that they say, the box plot below shows information about the time that boys spent doing homework last week. Now, the box plot that we drew for part A was the time for girls. This here is the time for boys. Compare the amount of time that girls spent doing homework with the amount of time that boys spent doing homework. So this is a compare question, which is pretty standard. And if you're familiar with this, you should be able to get full marks in it. In order to make this comparison, you need to do two comparisons, right? And what I normally suggest is that you compare median and ranges. Okay, so we're going to work out the median for the girls, and the median for the girls is going to be shown by this line here, and it's that value over there. I need to work out what that is. The scale is the same as before, so that's 160, 170, 180, 190. So the median times that girls spent was 190 minutes. The range is the highest, take away the lowest. The highest value is 250. Take away the lowest value, which that's 50 there. And the lowest value is 10 less than that, which is 40. 250 take away 40 is 210. Okay, so this is the median and the range for girls. For boys, we had the information above, and they gave us that in the previous part. Okay, so for boys, for girls over here, we have the median, and it's from the question itself. It said it was 170, and the range was 230. Okay, so we're going to compare those figures, and we'll just talk about it before we write it down. And this is something that you should think about before you write it down. You could say the median time for boys was more than the median time that girls spent doing homework. And the range for boys is 210, the range for girls is 230. So the range for boys was less than the range of time spent doing homework for girls. And I'm going to write that in, and I'm going to use the numbers as I do. So I'm going to write it down for median first. So the median time spent doing homework for girls, which is 170 minutes, is less than the median time spent doing homework for boys, which is 190 minutes. Okay, you can write any variation of that as long as you make a comparison between the median times for boys and girls. Now I'm going to do the same for range. So the range of the time spent doing homework for girls, which is the first one, 230 minutes, is, now the girls spent 230, the boys spent 210, so is more than the range of time spent doing homework for boys, which is 210 minutes. Okay, so it's a fair bit of writing there, And the marks that you get for this is for that comparison. And that's why there's a star next to the question, because there's marks for quality of written communication. This question took me a while to do, but I was explaining it as we were doing it. You should be on the ball with this. This is pretty straightforward and pretty easy to get all the marks for. So take your time, make sure you get them all.